plenty of us know someone who's using drugs or alcohol, and sometimes, Chris, it can be hard to find ways to help them out.
Absolutely. That's why today we've got Mary Jo Claremont from Claremont Counseling with us to talk about ways to really, I think, start this conversation and get people help. You know, and again, I don't know how realistic the show Intervention is, but you watch it, I can't even fathom knowing someone I love is addicted, and how do you open that dialogue with them?
Exactly. And you know what? It's so hard for people that either in relationship with someone or they have a family member, because they're struggling with trying to figure out, is it a problem or is it in my head? Am I overreacting? Am I over-exaggerating? And so one of the most difficult pieces is to start to weigh what's someone who's socially using and maybe abusing a chemical once in a while, and when does it move into something else that it's problematic, and that your instincts, you know, to trust your instincts, that there's possibly something more going on. And so that's kind of a first step for people in a relationship or loving somebody with a possible drug or alcohol problem is at least to start to look at what are some of the symptomologies. And one of the most important things is people that don't have a problem with drugs or alcohols, if they say they're going to quit or they're going to cut back, they're able to do that. It's not that hard. It's not a big deal. It's not an issue. The relationship that they have with the people they love is more important. When someone's developing an addiction, they say they're going to quit. They say they're going to cut back. They attempt it, but aren't able to do it for any length of time. And so that starts to be a nice red flag for the family member or the person in relationship with them to just say, there's something more going on. There's a potential disease process that has begun, and we need to address it. Ignoring it just makes it continue to get worse. And that's scary because there's a lot of physical damage that can occur the longer it's left not treated.
And I know that can be hard too, because if it is a close friend or a family member, it can be hard for you to admit that they have a problem. Sometimes that's a big step too in the process of recovering from it.
Very much so, because both the family has a kind of a denial as well as the person with the addiction. So the family's saying, oh, I don't know if it's that bad. Maybe I'm making a big deal, or they just want to ignore it because it's hard and scary to bring it up, because a lot of times a person with the drug or alcohol problem is defensive. They're like, you know, get out of my face, it's not that bad, you're overreacting. And so it creates conflict in the relationship, and that it's scary, because then the relationship is kind of unstable if they bring it up.
So what's the process? I think you hit it right on the head. Most people that obviously are addicted are in denial. You bring it up, no, I'm fine. So where's that point where, you see in the show Intervention, where all of a sudden the family's there, person walks in the room and, wait, what's going on here? How do you lead up to that point, or what are some ways to maybe not have to go through this whole family sudden intervention deal?
Because, Chris, what you're describing is what we call a formal intervention. That's kind of like when, after everything else hasn't worked, people get to that point where we need to do something, that they hire an interventionist, they bring everybody together, and everybody shares their concerns. But prior to that, there are some things that can be done. It's start the conversation to say, you know what, honey, I'm concerned, I see this, the frequency of your use has increased, the way you're using your prescription medication isn't the way it says on the bottle, you're taking more than prescribed, you slur your words, your mood and your behavior is changing, and that's concerning to me, or I'm scared for you. Would you be willing to go see a doctor and or a professional to let them decide if it's a problem? And it takes the weight off the family member, because there's specialists who are looking for the symptomology to determine this is more than just somebody abusing a chemical. This has moved into a disease process.
I mean, you make it sound really simple to have that conversation, but I would imagine it's not. So what are some tips for somebody out there thinking, okay, I know I need to have this conversation, but I don't even know where to begin?
Yeah.
Stay calm. The hardest part, because all that passion and concern and worry, it can become that the person is gonna want to push the issue and make it all happen that one conversation. So to stay calm, share the concerns, let them know things that are possible to take a look at, something you've looked into, a phone number to call, say that you would go with, but to stay calm. Because the one thing that happens when this issue gets brought up is the defensiveness on the person with drinking or drugs is they're going to try to hook your anger. They're going to try to hook you to escalate your emotions. And then you lose, because then they've got, in a sense, the power that you are no longer calm, you're no longer rational, and now it starts to be a fight rather than a conversation.
Right, they start to flip it onto you.
Yeah. Stay with us. Much more coming up with Mary Jo when we come back.